Okay, I'm going to call the special selectmen's meeting to order. This Wednesday, February 15th, 2023 at 3:01 p.m. The purpose of this meeting is a budget workshop, and there's a few other items on the agenda for this evening. Before we get started, I'd like to open up the floor to any citizen comments. Are there any citizen comments at this time? All right, hearing and seeing none. We will move forward. I'm going to share my screen and we'll move forward with the budget line item for town garage. Just move through this. Give me just 1 second. Okay, I'm on the right. Okay, starting with town garage. Sorry. I'm just getting my bearings. I should have had this set, so I apologize. Oh, there we go. All right. Beginning with telephone service. Joe's requesting $4,700. It is an increase, but that is a result of the additional cost for fire alarm monitoring that wasn't in the budget last year. If you recall, that was a request that was made and appropriated by the Board of Finance. And it just needed to be added. So that's for the fire alarm system that was installed this past spring. And this is the alarm monitoring for that system. So that was an additional $2,700 to the budget. Electricity, we've sat down with Bill Steglitz. We're asking for $10,800 estimated increase in electricity cost. We've added a 20% increase to last year's pricing. Fuel heating, a smaller increase we're asking based on what our numbers have been the last couple of years, but also based on the fact that Joe, our Public Works Director, is running the wood furnace again. And then building repair and maintenance for the town garage, he is requesting an increase, which would bring it, it's a 60% increase, bringing it to $40,000. The reason is overhead door repair and replacement on several of the overhead doors. In addition to that, he'd like to do some exterior painting of the building. And that is everything for town garage. Is there any questions at this point that I can write down for you and then pose to Joe?
I'm curious about the wood burner, wood stove, if you can explain that.
Okay. It had been in a state of disrepair.
That's what I remember.
Couple of years. And while oil prices were low, the former Public Works Director was not utilizing it, partly because it was broke down. Joe made an initiative in the fall to get that fixed, and they have been operating that.
And what is he using for wood? Just when they cut down and trim trees and the junk wood that they?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And they've been doing a lot of tree work lately, so.
That's wonderful. That's a great use of resources and keeping prices down on fuel for the town.
Right, and thankfully it's been a mild winter, so that's helped us.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. That was my question. I knew it had been in disrepair. I didn't know to what extent or anything, but I believe that was why the previous facilities director didn't use it.
Right, and
so
oil prices at the time were pretty darn low, so
still, I mean, even if they're low, it's still a good use of getting rid of junk wood and keeping fuel prices down. So I love that he's done that.
Agreed.
That was
Kennedy,
my question.
how about you, Ken? Any thoughts or questions on these requests?
No, the getting the wood furnace back up and running, it's always reduced our electric bills heating costs in the past when it's functioning appropriately. You're getting back to, preventive maintenance. We've got a building that's been there since 1975. The overhead doors, they only last so long. We've replaced a couple and done repairs, over the past several years. There is 1, 2, 3, I think 6, 7 doors that are there, 8, whatever it may be. It all comes down to preventive maintenance. And if you want your sheet metal to last on the building, doing some painting is going to preserve that as well.
Yep, agreed. Okay, so that was pretty straightforward. Are there any citizen comments at this time? Hearing none, shall we move on to Public Works? Does that work for you both?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, ready to go. We'll start, and I think Joe can explain this when he gets here a little bit more. Joe is making the request to increase the staff salary to 3.25%. Contractually, we are set to increase by 2.25. Joe believes that people matter. And in spite of the contract, he is making the request to increase by another 1% as a show of good faith to the employees who have only received in the last 2+ years 1.75%. And I know that's what was negotiated, but certainly we couldn't have foreseen the rise in inflation that we're all being inflicted with. So Joe would like to do something a little bit for the staff. You will notice that the Director of Public Works salary is showing a 2.41%, but that is what it's increased over last year's budget. That's what was negotiated when Joe was hired. So that's going to remain just as it is based on his hiring date, which was in October. So that's not seeing any increase except for the increase over last year's budget. Joe is asking for some additional money for overtime. This is mostly due to the aggressive construction season that he has planned for this year, and he wants to make sure that he has enough funds available to cover the additional overtime while the guys are working on some of these road projects that he has planned, which tend to spill over into overtime. So that's that. Shall I just keep moving on? Training, this line item here, he's keeping at $1,600. He doesn't see any additional training. We do have an OSHA 10 training coming up, and that is complimentary through our insurance company, HD Seeger. Service contracts are remaining steady. Outside contractors, he did increase substantially, partly due to guardrail replacement that's going to take place for the Fabian Road project, the Blaine Road intersection, and some guardrails that need to be replaced at Reardon Road. It's basically upgrading to code requirements. Fabian Road is a full reclamation project that Joe has planned for this year, and he anticipates there being a lot of guardrail along that stretch of highway. Tree service. This past summer, we had an immense amount of trees that were just falling all summer and fall long. And there is still an abundant number of trees that have to be taken down. In prior years, we had $15,000 in the budget. Due to the overages last year for the budget, we had $15,000 left that we had encumbered to one of the tree services. We gave that back to help bring the budget back in alignment. But there's still a lot of work to do, a lot of trees that have to come down. So that was something that he wants to request an additional $10,000. Contractor for MS4. Now, this is a requirement. We have moved the MS4 project work over to J&D Civil Engineers. It had been in the hands of our wetlands agent for the last 3 years. Unfortunately, none of the reporting was getting done. So this past year, we moved it over to J&D, who have they're completely up to date with their MS4 reporting. The 2022 report is getting ready for submittal. It is in, it's under the public review section right now on the website. But these are some additional projects that we're going to have to undertake to continue to stay in compliance with MS4. Dry weather sampling of 154 outfalls, wet weather sampling, catchment investigations for 6 to 8 outfalls that were identified as potential problems in the testing in the past. We also need to do some scope of work for catchments outside the priority area. And this is the biggest one here, retrofit planning and design for disconnection of catchments. The whole purpose of MS4 is to reduce pollution that heads down eventually to the Long Island Sound. So the ultimate goal is to disconnect some of these outfalls and utilize other means to catch and divert stormwater. So these are the estimates from J&D Civil Engineers for the coming year. Street lighting, we increased also by 20%. And if you recall, we've also added 13 street lights, which should come in at approximately an additional $1,300 this year. So we thought that was a fair increase to plan for. Advertising, he kept the same. Equipment rentals, he increased slightly, again, because of some of the paving projects that we have in case we need to rent specific equipment. And Joe can certainly speak more on what equipment he might be needing to rent for those projects. Uniforms, safety shoes. Now this again is another union contract. Currently, the crew is reimbursed up to $160 for safety shoes. Joe would like to increase that to $220 because the average shoe does not usually cost $160. It's usually upwards over $200. But case in point, today I just signed a PO, and one of the employees only spent $138 for his shoes. So it's just the means to make sure that the guys are reimbursed properly for their safety shoes. It doesn't mean that they're going to all use the $220, but Joe would like to make sure that they have enough money to buy shoes that fit and work well for them. Center line marking. Joe's asking for a 20% increase there, but there again, with all the roads that he's planning, there'll be additional costs associated with painting those lines on the road. So he's denoted additional center line marking for chip seal project on 10 roads total, paving projects, and the roads he has for paving projects currently are Fabian Road, Lowell Davis, Plum Road, Park Street, Norman Hill Road, and Old Route 12. And let me see if there's one more. Okay, water monitoring. There has been an increase in the cost for water monitoring, so that's just based on current invoices. Medical supplies, again, has also seen some increases in the cost for those supplies. So Kelly figured out, you know, what the average is running, and this is what they're requesting. Joe is asking for some additional supply money and tool money. Highway signs specifically, they're asking for a 20% increase for those. The price increase on metal and steel, those are most of the posts are made out of steel. People are stealing the signs. They've had to order more signs than normal and need to replace more signs and posts in the 2023 projects that they're undertaking. So that's the reasoning behind that request. They've also increased the price or the request for gasoline at 53.85%. The price increase on fuel and the number of gallons being used. Kelly researched the usage reports and then based the request on the $3.07 locked-in rate that begins on July 1st. Same thing with diesel. Increase due to the price locked in and the number of gallons being used per our gas reports. And she based this pricing on $3.59, which is the locked-in rate to begin on July 1st. So just like gasoline and diesel and heating oil, motor oil and lubrication products have also seen a spike in prices. So Joe has requested a 50% increase there. Major price increase on oil and lubrication products, as well as our fuel additive products. And let's see. Office supplies is staying the same. Equipment repair and parts. Joe made a note there. He is requesting a 19% increase to that line item. Obviously we've been absent a mechanic and it's forced Public Works to send items out for repair. And there he's still anticipating trying to play catch up with that. Drainage and construction material, he's kept flat. And then truck repair parts, he has increased as well and made note that the lack of mechanic has forced Public Works to send trucks out for repair. So he's just trying to stay ahead of the curve there. And that is the highway department, or Public Works. Questions?
Amy, I would like to discuss all pay increases at the end.
Okay.
I appreciate all the different departments have put in for different numbers, or the ones that have, and I think that we should have a conversation, the three of us, before we finalize our budget and come up with something.
And I think that's traditionally what we've done. So
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah. I just don't think I've said that yet this season.
Yep.
The other question I have with guardrails, are these actual quotes that he's gotten?
He knows from the past. He knows prices from the past.
But the past has changed, kind of thing? Like
Well,
how far
I'm saying in the past year.
Okay, so they're current.
Yeah, it's current pricing.
Because nothing is the same as it was in the past.
Right. Sorry, in the past year.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
That
just
was
on-
my question.
just on guardrail changing for what Joe was talking about doing. You're talking about going from cable and post to flex beam. And that's part of the upgrade. Nobody uses cable and post anymore. It's just not out there. So it's definitely going to cost more to do that. So I understand the increases because you've got to keep up with the new technology for what's available. As far as the signs and stuff, we've always had a problem with signs. If we do have chronic signs that are going down, and we've had them in the past, you put up a sign, it'll be gone the next day. We do have hunting cameras and stuff that can be put up and hopefully try and catch whoever's doing it. So it's food for thought.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Any other thoughts? And I know this is a really huge budget. What I talked to Bill, once I click all of these thumbs up and thumbs down, it'll move over just to give you and Suzanne a highlight. This is going to change to the department head's proposed budget, and I'm going to have Bill transfer this into an Excel spreadsheet for you, and you'll get that after the 22nd when the fire department meets, and prior to us really drilling down and looking at the budget numbers. So you'll have an explanation and you'll have the Excel worksheet to work off of. Will that work for both of you?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, because I mean, right now I'm look,
I know.
I'm showing 103,000 for diesel.
I think what I can do, Ken, too, is once I get done tonight, once we get done tonight, I'm gonna click all these arrows up, and that should change it over to a department head's budget, and then you should be able to review. You'll see everything
Okay.
that I'm seeing.
That'd be great.
Okay, I'll work on that tonight before I leave tonight. And Joe just came in. Come on, sit. Come and sit with us.
Come and sit with us.
Actually,
is
I just
that-
arrived too.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna sign out here and I'll see you in a few minutes.
Okay, sounds good. Ken, did you have any questions for Joe?
Joe, what have you done to upgrade the wood stove?
I repaired that this summer.
Yeah, what did you do?
Yeah,
Because I know what the system looked like.
We did not change the system inside the building, as in the heating system and the water system. I did not change that any. Richard had bought some parts for it, but I don't think at this present time that we should jump into that because of the age of the boiler itself being 20 years old. To upgrade the inside and put money into it, and then have the boiler, which had cracks in it, and I did a lot of welding to it this past summer, took it all apart. If we put all that money to the inside, something goes wrong with the boiler, then I don't want it to be a waste of money and have to buy a new system for the outside also, which would be quite expensive because there are emission systems now and things like that.
Have we priced out a new firebox outside?
No. I repaired that one and it's working fine right now.
Yeah, but that's lined with water tubes, et cetera, on the inside of that box.
It's not tubes, it's a container inside of a container, the whole outside of it and the underneath where the grate is. And I couldn't find any good information online because that company is now out of business to what the schematics were for the watering system. So I kind of went by pressurizing the system, looking for actual leaks. I took all the antifreeze out, filled it up with water and looked for leaks, drained it back out, cleaned it, heated it because it's stainless steel. I heated it up, crawled inside and did a week's worth of welding on the inside of it.
All right.
He was just talking about.
Joe, signs. Is it certain areas, certain signs that are being stolen, or is it just spread out through town generally?
The more we ride around, for some strange reason, signs are disappearing lately. And it's kind of just like spread out. Basically, the Quartic area on the backside of Quartic Town Farm in Quinnebog has become a problem lately.
Quinnebog, really?
Yeah, like Parker Road, you notice there's no signs there. That has always been a thing in the years past. So I mean, we're just dealing with it. I put a little bit more money in towards the sign because they have become more expensive with the extruded aluminum.
Yeah.
And we're also in the process of upgrading, getting rid of all the old red ones, which we are not supposed to have the red ones. They should be any other color but red and yellow.
Yeah, it's supposed to be red. It's supposed to be green or blue.
Green, yeah, green or blue, correct, yes.
Yes, exactly. If we're having trouble with, we used to have a problem with, was it Bull Hill up in Quartic?
Yeah, the bottom of Rhode Island, that was always a problem there. But that whole Quartic Town Farm Road with Baker Road, we just put signs all back up in there. The kids like to come down and rip the old holes out of the ground.
All right, just some food for thought. I thought we had a gaming camera that we could put up.
Yes, there is a gaming camera, which I found in a cabinet, which is I don't know how old it is, but if a game camera is over 5 years old, you might as well throw it away with technology and buy another one.
But
Uh,
a gaming camera is $100. It might be money well spent based on the cost of some of these stop signs and stuff to attempt to catch whoever's doing it.
Yeah, the only problem with putting up gaming cameras, in all reality, we have to put the camera on our property. We can't put it on somebody else's property to take pictures of our signs in a way that's probably not legal. So we'd have to be strategic with it on where it would be placed down the road to catch a license plate and watch the kids do whatever they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, we some of these rural roads, cameras can be put up fairly inconspicuous on, the gutters and so forth. I mean, it's something to think about because of the cost of signs.
Exactly, and I could get together with Kelly and we could go back in billing and find out what are the most signs we've purchased with names on them. And maybe use that as a stepping stone for putting a camera there. And maybe catching the kids or whatever is happening to them. I say kids, I don't mean it that way. I just mean that, we can keep
Could
an
be
eye.
anybody.
Yeah, it could be anybody, absolutely. That would be a thing to do, definitely.
Just touching on chip sealing, Joe, what were your thoughts? What roads were we talking about?
I can tell you exactly what's happening. All the roads that, since Rich arrived, we are, in the last 4 years, all those roads will be chip sealed this year. Hopefully this spring. I'd like to get a PO on it because last year's budget, we didn't really do any paving whatsoever. So that money will take in chip seal, like, there's, West Thompson, Brandy Hill, Quartic Road.
Okay. You got Sunset, you've got a few.
Yeah, no, I did not give it to you,
You
did
didn't
I?
give me that one, no.
No, I didn't. I did not bring that paperwork. I kept it on my desk. I didn't think there was a need to bring that, but there's Sunset Hill Road, Gorin Road, Brookside Terrace, Portertown, Brandy Hill. We also did Juliet.
Rich Road.
Rich Road and Juliet.
Yeah, Sand Dam was done a few.
Sand
Oh
Dam.
God.
Sand Dam, I've been looking into that. That's not going to get redone because we are looking into a trip grant because that connects up with the trailhead, which also goes to a main route 193, which we may be eligible to have that road completely redone because it is becoming delaminated. And I've been talking with a couple of the other DPW directors in the area, like Travis, on how to stop the delamination of the last paving. And the problem is when that starts, there's no way to stop it because it's like a chip in the paint and the rust gets underneath, the water gets underneath of it, and it keeps popping the road. So the money to try to repair delamination, it keeps doing it. It'll keep going. So the only way to do that, and depending on what the grant specifications are, it may be a full reclamation road with drainage repairs that we'd have to do to meet that grant's criteria. And it would be great to do it all the way from East Thompson Road clear to 193, because the road is kind of in rough shape, and it would be awesome. And we just have to wait to look into that a little bit deeper with the grant, the trip grant.
Yeah, it's probably one of our most heavily traveled roads.
Absolutely. My idea, if we can get the trip grants with Sand Dam, East Thompson Road, and if we can get some Aquatic Town Farm done from Buck Hill, because the traffic that comes from Rhode Island to go to Webster, that's exactly what they do. They go Aquatic Town Farm Road, they hit East Thompson, they get on the Sand Dam, and that's a travel. And in turn, the other way, they cut across and they do Spicer Road to East Thompson to 193 to West Thompson Road to get to the other end, to get to Putnam and Woodstock area.
Yeah, the other road that we got high volume on is Fabian Woodstock.
Fabian Road, I have the quotes in for that. That is gonna be a full reclamation. And I'd like to think that it will be done before fall hits, and that road will be completely redone. Rich had it set up in stages from Redbridge to Hagstrom, and then the next year doing from Hagstrom down to Fabian Woodstock. Which is a good idea, but if we have the money and I have access to the money, let's do the whole road, get the whole road done, put up the, replace the, all the guardrails, which we cannot get a company to come in and do the post and cable guardrails. They will not do that because that does not meet code. So
That's outdated technology now anyway.
exactly, like we had a bad accident over on Reardon Road, right across from the ranger station, and they took out a big section. And disappointingly, they didn't take out enough, so we may have to pay for some of that because I cannot get a company to come in and do that. It's gonna have to all be replaced with flex beam, which by right it should be. Flex beam is a heck of a lot safer than the guide wire posts that are.
It's also a lot easier to repair too.
Exactly. We can straighten the metal out when the wood and the cable get stretched out. There's a lot of work that comes into play. You know that with working with those guardrail and that system.
Oh, yeah. There's just a ton of drainage between Hagstrom and Fabian.
Fabian Road, that a lot of it will not need to be replaced. It will need to be cleaned and inspected because there is not an infrastructure system there. Maybe one or two catch basins over by Brickyard Road where that comes in. And a lot of them are just cross covered. So we will have to repair the head walls on each side. And a lot of it needs to be cleaned out because they have not been cleaned out in years with debris, leaves, so on and so forth. Which
you also have the Auger Pond, Osier Pond.
all of that stuff, if you look at those for Osier Pond, that is like 6 to 8 feet below the surface. And with the MS4, those have been inspected and recorded. And as far as I can tell by not manually going and sticking my head in the hole, from what they gave us for a report on the map, they're in good shape. There are a couple of, like I said, a couple of head walls right when you come off of Redbridge and take a right-hand turn that need to be addressed because they were brick and mortar or stone and mortar, which we will replace those before it gets paved because I want to try to get paved up to it. A lot of the catch on that road are off of the roadway, so they can be repaired at a later date if we don't get them done in time.
No, the drainage that I'm most concerned with is coming down from Fabian Road to where Selkowitz farm was, where ice is over.
Not sure where Selkowitz, the area where Joe Selkowitz family.
Oh,
Is it by Blackmere Downs in that area?
you finish going up the hill for Blackmere Downs, headed towards Hagstrom, you come down the hill on the other side.
A lot of the problem issues with that drainage is a couple of those driveways are gravel driveways, and that's what's creating problem with the cross culverts. They are getting filled in and they have not been addressed in years. And we want to clean that area up and take a good look at it before anything takes place. So if we do have to do some road construction, we'll get into that. Me and Lars and myself have taken a ride through there a couple of times and evaluated from a distance, evaluated what we have to do to try to get a basic program down of where we're going to start and where we're going to finish. Because we just don't want to start and say, okay, yeah, good enough. I want to get it done start to finish. And that's the whole idea of getting that road done too. I want it start to finish. So when winter comes next year, the only thing we have to do that road is plow
That would be great.
it. I hope.
Any other questions for Joe on Public Works? Any,
No, I'm good.
any citizen comments? Okay, we'll move on to ground supplies parks. Joe, you want me to just keep reading
Yeah,
like I've been doing, and then you can answer any questions?
that sounds good.
Okay. Summer temporary help, we are reloading that line item. The last few years since COVID, we haven't been able to find summer help. Joe is planning that with the heavy construction season, the need for summer help is going to be very high. The plan is to hire retired individuals, at least that's our hope, for summer temporary assistance with mowing and traffic control. Contractual, temporary, and occasional help, he's kept that at the budget item of $500. Ground supplies parks is going to stay constant at $6,000, and park maintenance, Joe is requesting $6,200, which is a very large increase. And he can explain more about it, but he has some aggressive plans to really improve the parks. Some removal of roots at Wilsonville Park, painting of the railings and repair of the railings at Park Street Park. And then, of course, the addition of a lot of playground safety mulch for all of the parks. Joe, do you want to explain any more about that?
We'll start off with the mulch, which is the pulverized playground mulch, has not been replenished in quite some time. And if you notice, when you go by the parks and you look at the distance between the swing seats and where the mulch is, a 10-year-old is not going to be able to jump up and sit inside of it. It needs to get built up, and it's all a safety thing. So when the kids do fall out, which they do fall out, that they do not get hurt in any way, shape, or form. And that is all of them. That is all of the parks, Old Route 12, Park Street, 3 roads, which we did some work in last summer, but I'm sure it does need to be touched up because the kids are in there kicking it around. And Wilsonville Road, I'll go back to Park Street, the railing all around Park Street. It doesn't need major repair, but we need to get down there and fix those posts and paint everything that is metal out there. And I was thinking of painting it, keeping it black, making it look nostalgic, not gloss black to make it look like it's too gaudy or anything like that. More like on a satin thing, and it would definitely spruce it up and make it less likely to look like an eyesore. In 3 Rose Park, I think that is in very good shape as of right now. And Wilsonville Park needs some extensive work because the mulch being gone and the wood line being so close. The roots have come up to the top, which I do have to do the research on what we own for property, but I would like to cut back as far as I can. There is wetlands there, so I am limited on how much I can play and how much Marlo will let me dabble into that. But the more that I can get that vegetation away from the playground, the less problem in the future we'll have with roots, because we are going to have to do a lot of digging up, which I really want to get done before the kids get out of school. So we're out of there before the kids get out of school, and the parents can bring their kids in there, and it'll be already freshened up for the summer months for the kids.
Well, any of the park maintenance would be great to get done as early as possible, because once you start getting into your road work, it's going to be nonstop.
That's the whole thing. And with the chip sealing coming up to our road work is going to start early. The roads have to be cut back for the chip sealing, which is going to be as soon as the road temperature starts to come up. I refuse to let them do it beforehand, because sometimes it's a waste of time. If the road temperature isn't perfect, it's a waste of money. It comes right off. But anyway, back to the parks with the rec. I do have a meeting next week with rec department, which should have been taken. We should have thought about this earlier and did it before this budget meeting came into play, because I don't know what they have in line and what they wish me to do. Which I think everything that I said that I want to do will improve the park immensely. whether it be, replacing some of the chains and things like that. If they're not a safety issue to the children, we can let them go and we can do them on rainy days during the summer when we don't have anything to do. We can go replace some of the seats where the plastic may be weathered or anything like that. That's all I got on parks for right now.
Any questions for Joe on parks?
Amy, is there any grant funding out there to improve the parks or add to additional playground equipment?
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're always on the lookout for things.
Didn't know if,
And even-
if there, with the
even-
fresh air movements and things like that, if there was any sort of,
And even like some of them you look at, say, that the ones we haven't replaced, and not additions, just replacing them and putting some nice
Replacing,
clean
yeah.
things in.
say that.
Even though they look nice, if we could get something a little bit cleaner, it's also not an eyesore.
Yeah.
And safety, of course, is number one, but eyesore also in that too.
Yeah,
Parks
I like that
more
you're thinking of
presentable.
the parks, and it's funny because this just came up the other night about, is it Park Street?
Yes,
Park Ave, yeah,
yeah,
and so, and it just kind of came up that I was
that is.
asking about that, and can we clean it up and make it good, look good, you're
The
already.
whole thing with that whole Park Street and that park, that road's getting torn up. We have to work on the drainage because that road is completely flat. So it's very touchy. We have to work with the state. We're gonna try to work with the state and combine with their discharge area. Which that's all up in the air. That's up to the state. We'll do whatever we have to do. But that is gonna get completely ground out, repaved. The edges up to the walls in the fencing is gonna get reloomed. The park is gonna get redone and painted. That whole area, when you come down 200 and stop, is gonna be, it's gonna have a total facelift. Hopefully, by the middle of summer, it will be completely done. I knock on wood,
Good,
depending on weather. I'm always fighting Mother Nature.
Oh, yeah,
So that's what I'm hoping for.
good,
And I do want to point out that we are working on a grant to improve Oscar Swanson Park and the monument.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we're working directly with the VFW and American Legion.
that's where it came up.
And that'll be something that lifts up that
Definitely.
park.
That's where it
So-
came up, I was trying to
Yeah.
remember, yeah,
So,
good.
any citizen comments at this time before we move on to the next section of the Public Works budget? Okay. All right, transfer stations next. I'll just read off. I'll do the same thing.
I can take a breath. This is gonna be a long one.
Maybe not that bad. Okay, as we had mentioned before, we are requesting a 3.25% increase for the staff. Telephone, there is a 20% increase that is there, but that is mostly because there is now internet at the transfer station so that the attendants can use a credit card machine so that people don't have to have cash to pay for their bulky waste. So that was an increase this year. It just got installed. Electricity, we're keeping steady, but I'm wondering if we should have increased that.
Probably should have, because
I
it
think
is
that was-
gonna, and like they keep threatening, it is going to go up. Maybe that is something that should have been.
We've been doing 20%, so I did another 20%.
That,
And we should look at that across the board with all,
Yeah.
with
all the projects.
everything.
Yeah,
Exterminating, we did see an increase through our extermination company. It was the first increase in a couple of years. They are now at $980 per year. And that's very, very needed at the transfer station. I just had to throw that in. Advertising is staying steady. So that's flat. And then again, the same request as on the public works side. Joe is requesting an increase in the reimbursement for safety shoes from $160 to $220. Tipping fees. This is what it's projected to be at by next year, $200,000. It is a 25% increase, mostly due to the fact that we are not being paid for most recyclables. Did I get that right?
Correct.
Hazardous waste, this is the amount of money that we put aside to cover hazardous waste days, which occur every 2 years. $4,000 is the cost for the transfer station / recycling coordinator, and that's paid quarterly at $1,000 every quarter, and that's for Winston Averill. Repairs to the building, grounds and equipment, Joe is requesting a 66% increase, and that is to upgrades and remodeling of the facility and the layout to make it easier for the public to maneuver through the transfer station. Water monitoring, just as on the public works budget, is seeing an increase of 5% this year. Maintenance repairs is staying steady, although Joe does have some plans to paint and pressure wash a lot of the equipment, just to keep those pieces looking good, but also operating. Preventative maintenance. Thank you, Joe. Other supplies is remaining flat. Permits and licensing is remaining flat. And then equipment repair parts, he did request an increase, but that's because the cost of parts has increased.
Yes.
As everything else. And that is everything in the transfer station. Anything you want to add, Joe?
I am going to be doing some work up there, and I don't know I can't think of the word off the top of my head. There's a lot of things that need to be addressed. Painting and your basic cleanup, maintenance cleanup, so it becomes more presentable. Yes, it is the dump, but we have to make it more of a transfer station. I'd like to clean it up. There's some deterioration of some of the blocks that they used in construction of it, which are the block walls and everything down by the containers and compactors. And because of the compactors and containers being so close, if they don't dry out, the blocks have deteriorated. And I've come up with some ideas to build forms to repair them, not replace them, because that would be a major overhaul. To build forms and fill those back in with cement so we can prolong the life before we have to put too much money into the place. And working with getting possibly a self-contained office trailer up there for the attendants, so they would have onboard portable water and septic, which in turn will have to be maintained, and a place for him to stand where it's warm. And I want to push the issue with him keeping track of a lot of the daily routines up there, so we can have this on a schedule. It's kind of a jumble of things. And I think that'd be great. A lot of those containers and things, when you go up there that are truck bodies, I want to eliminate those. There is no need for those. I would like to purchase a sea crate, which they sell sea crates. They'd have 4 doors, roll-up doors on the side, where we could take all of that stuff, put it into one, and then lose all of that debris and just jumble of things that is up there, and make it a lot neater and cleaner, making the area and getting a new swap shack and making the area a little bit bigger and easier for people to drive through. Make it more user-friendly and cleaner for the residents, basically. And it's things that need to be done anyway. That's about it for that.
Okay, any questions? No.
Joe, what about the entrance to the transfer station?
You know, the idea came up with Rich with the last one. He wanted to move that over. My opinion, which I brought up to everybody in the transfer station committee, I think that would be a real bad idea, because the traffic it would be like an on-ramp to the highway. The 90-degree turn to get into the gate slows everybody down, and it gives time for the attendant to keep an eye on who comes in, what they're doing, and when they leave. Everybody has to stop when they're leaving. I think if we made that wider and bigger and made the access easier, I think it would be more of a hassle for the gate attendant. The people would be coming in twice as fast. And people get a little rambunctious up there, and they don't like to wait to get their recyclables and their household trash looked at before they go up there. I think keeping it at a slow pace the way it is, which we don't have any problem with all the trucks coming in and out of there. We haven't had any issues. Yes, the gate and the fence in the area eventually should be replaced so it looks better. But right now it is functioning. There is nothing wrong with it. It functions and it functions quite well. So in going through the hassle of where that was supposed to go in with all the debris in the ground and being so close to the hazardous waste pit, I don't even want to look at that. I think we should stay away from that the best we can, so we don't open up a can of worms and people ask questions of why are we that close to it. I think that the best route is the route that it is at this present time.
Any other questions? Any citizen comments about the transfer station budget? Okay. All right, moving on to the next line item is cemeteries. That is the same request at $1,500. Joe, that generally covers some of your.
If we use it for maybe like a chainsaw or something to that effect, because when they do get cleaned up, Norma O'Leary's big on cleanup. We do have to go up there and chip up brush and move wood. And she's been doing an outstanding job. It's incredible. And because they're just all overgrown, and we don't want the trees falling down on some of them headstones that are priceless history, pretty much. Which I do, and I really don't use it unless I would really need to. We should keep it to the cemeteries. And if that money is there for maybe even cleaning some of the tombstones and monuments in repair of them, they break because of a tree or something falling on them or vandalism or something like that. I think that's a good piece of money to keep in there just in case. And if we don't use it, we don't use it.
Generally, Norma finds a use for.
Oh, Norma, yeah, that's okay. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Yeah.
She's providing an amazing service.
Oh, absolutely.
Say we are lucky to have
We
her.
are.
Oh, absolutely.
And she, using that line item, she puts it to good.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
Any other questions or any questions for cemetery care? Citizen comments? All right, now our favorite line items, snow removal. So again, on snow overtime, we did apply the 3.25%. We are asking for an 11% increase on salt and sand. That was the increase that we saw this past year. Supplies are staying flat and equipment repair parts is staying flat. And just so everybody knows, equipment repair parts covers snowplow blades with carbides at approximately $1,000 each. The need varies year to year. Smaller storms do more damage to these blades, but there's other equipment repairs, but that's the biggie.
Can I add to that?
Yes, you can.
Okay, the reason and the sole reason why that budget is staying at that price is because we didn't use our plows this year. And we are lucky. I'm running on plow blades from the year past. So we did not wear them down at $1,000 a piece to set up the carbides and the plows. On an average, you're talking 5 good storms and they're gone. We didn't have to do that this year. So on that note, next year, I probably will be asking for more because we never know what Mother Nature is going to throw at us. But on the supplies for the snow removal, we are in really good shape because of the mild winter we had. The problem being is we haven't had a frost in the ground. And every time we have dropped our plows, we have road repairs to do, but that's beside the point.
One of the big questions that I thought everybody might have is what we've spent this year. And obviously we probably still have a full shed, but we did spend $98,977 year to date. Last year we spent on salt and sand. Oh, and that was on salt and sand. Just so everybody knows, I'm talking about this line item here. So that's what we've spent on salt and sand, the 98,000, roughly 100,000. And then last year, the total we spent was $161,950. We had budgeted for this year 179,000, and therefore we're asking for the 198 for next year.
And the remainder that's in the account from this year, are we going to request that be encumbered, or are we sending it back to general fund? What are we doing?
I feel like the Board of Finance has been leaning towards everything pretty much going back to general fund. I'll leave it up to them. I feel like if they want to encumber whatever's left and reduce what we're asking for, that'll be potentially their decision to make. Would you agree?
I don't know, we might want to encumber it and then, reduce the line item that we have there.
But the problem too is that we could still get major storms.
Yes. Wait, that's not. So,
So we're gonna present on March 2nd.
Still not early enough. I don't feel it's early enough because then we could have ice all the month of March.
April
I
15th.
suggest we encumber.
And March can give us some pretty good snowstorms.
Absolutely.
Okay.
From salt and sand.
For now, I would leave this as the department head budget, as Joe's request, and then if we want to make, as a board, if we want to make that change, I was leaning towards that same request. That's what you're saying, I was leaning towards that same line of thinking, but I feel like let's decide collectively as a board, we
Right.
can make a note.
And I'm actually not talking, I'm saying you could reduce that department head, department
Right.
budget. You could, but I'm suggesting that we encumber, we request to encumber the.
It would be
salt and sand
roughly
remainder.
$80,000,
I'm suggesting we.
and then that could reduce the salt and sand
It
to
could,
118.
or we could get double whammy next.
Yeah,
know.
exactly. That's
Oh, you're just saying encumber it and not reduce
Now.
the salt?
Saying, I'm throwing that out there for now.
Right. Oh, see, I was looking at it just on how we could save the, you know, the budget.
Usually what we've done in the past is make sure our salt sand sheds are full at the end of the budget cycle.
Of course.
History
Of course.
shows on salt and sand, that doesn't seem right. Oh, yeah, maybe though.
We had another mild year not too long ago.
Well, I'm showing 67,000 for FY 20, 85,000 for FY 21, 161 for last year is what's showing up.
So we,
and the 161,000 from last year, we didn't have a bad winter. It was an okay winter. It wasn't bad,
Mhm.
but the prices went up.
yes,
That is the
Yes.
problem. Next year, and there's nothing we can do about it. There's not like we can go shopping somewhere else for sand and salt. So just using the percentage that went up, we guesstimated what it went up this year. We tacked that on saying that, yep, it's gonna go up that percent. It was like 12% or whatever it was. And, it's a tough call, but if we get the money and we keep it, we have it.
Well, so the amount that we use in storms is
you don't have to.
pretty hard to factor because you're better off with big storms because you sand it, you plow it, and then you sand up at the end. It's the 1-2 inch storms that knock the heck out of the budget.
In all reality, when you get a 12-inch storm compared to a 6-inch storm, you're using the same amount of material, sometimes even more, especially on a season like now, because it goes from snow to water to ice. So we are treating to keep the roads safe. When we get a nice big cold storm, we put it down, we plow it all off, and in the end we plow, we only make 2 applications, and that's it. So it's hard to judge, and I'm new at this, so to say if we have the money, because we never know, is a good thing, but we also have to watch what the citizens like with the budget too.
Absolutely. Any other thoughts, comments, questions about the snow budget, the snow removal budget? Any citizen comments at this time? Citizen comments? All right, that concludes the line items, but we do have some capital requests to go over. Everybody just gives me 1 second. I gotta switch what I'm doing. So we already went over the library budget, their capital requests. We talked about the reval request. So now we're gonna go over Public Works request. If I can find it. Okay, Joe, we want to start with the loader. So this is this line item here at an estimated cost of 217,004.
The idea I have with the loader, we've been having some problems with the loader at the transfer station. Our loader that we use for the highway is a 2002 loader. It is in outstanding shape. The thing is, I do not want to lose that loader. And I'll tell you why, because it is a pre-tier engine loader, which the hassles with all the new electronics and emissions on these machines is terrible and a lot of work. But the loader at the transfer station, which is a 2008, has cost us money for years. It is not the ideal loader for the transfer station. And I had an idea to get for the highway department for road work, a new loader, the exact loader we have, and then transfer our loader from the highway department to the transfer station, and didn't get into it too deep. Trade-in value on the transfer station loader, or a gov deal sale with the loader from the transfer station, which of course would probably go back to general fund or whatever, but it could offset the cost of the loader. And then we'd be up to date for the highway department with a brand new loader. So we have something a wee bit more dependable, but like I said, there is nothing wrong with that one that we have for the highway. But in turn, it is 20 years old. And I did some extensive work to the bucket, which if we do keep it for the highway, I will be having to purchase in the next couple of years a bucket, which is going to be expensive. But that if it goes to the transfer station, it will not really be doing what the highway loader does. It will be moving trash. The bucket will last a lot longer. And in turn, having two loaders, 544H, which we have now, and P, which is newer model, if we run into a problem at the highway department, we have the same size loader that will do the same functions that we can use from the transfer station, which a loader at the transfer station will not work for highway work. It is a landscape machine. And back and forth. We can exchange the loaders back and forth, and for also emergency snow removal. God forbid we get a blizzard of extensive snow. The 544H we have now, which we use out on the road, will be at the transfer station. We'll have access to two loaders that will be, and a pusher that will be able to go out and clean up points, intersections, and things like that. We'll be able to put more equipment out on the road for emergencies. That's it for the loader for that one.
Okay. And just to be clear, the loader at the transfer station is on its last leg.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, I just had to call Tyler Equipment. They just had to come up and work on it last week, and I have a fuel system problem, which I am working on trying to get the parts up. It is operational at this time. I'm working on that. For the outcome on that, I don't know until I get that squared away.
Okay. Second item on the agenda is what we always see, road work and paving. Joe came to me with all of his quotes today. I also added in Blaine Road intersection, which we talked about, which NC Incorporated, who did the sidewalks, is set to do that work. So the total budget would include paving, that's outsourced, some paving, that's the full reclamation being outsourced. So that's $889,380. The work that our crew will do, which is $187,293. Chip sealing, that maintenance program at $387,000, and then the Blaine Road intersection at $112,000. That was a total of $1,575,678. We have left in the roads budget for the last 2 years, 997,620. So that would leave the total of $578,057. And that's what got put into the request for paving. So that covers those projects only. There is a caveat that I think it's important to disclose, that we will also still be receiving our LoCIP money, which is approximately 85,000, and then our town road aid, which is around 238. Bill can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have those numbers off the top of my head. Those two numbers could still get taken off of this paving budget, but it would leave us with nothing extra for incidentals or contingency. So I feel strongly, and I think Joe would agree, that we should ask for the 578,000. Anything you want to share, Joe?
I think asking for that money and to get all those reclamation roads, full reclamation roads I'd like to do, will be very essential, and I'm hoping everybody would be as in residents, be happy with that. Which in turn, I want to do a lot of repairs internally with our crew, which if the road aid money comes in, that what was left over, the 187,000, and which the road aid, which hopefully I wouldn't have to dig into that too much. And then in turn, there's some drainage repairs that need to be done on some roads, where after we dig up the roads, it'll be more than just patching a hole in the roads. I'd like to make the road really presentable for a good distance around these repairs. Sections of roads that are in much distress, that I'm running into issues with now that I cannot repair because I do not have access to the asphalt in general, that we will be leaping on right off the bat. I would like to have the guys as in outsourcing and our crew in 2 different places at the same time. I don't know if it'll work. We will find out if it'll work. I don't see why it won't work. And then we could at least do major repairs and minor repairs, both at the same, I'm not saying same time, same season. We'll call it the same construction season. But having access to that money, just in case things get out of hand to where we should do better or do some more reclamation if needed, which also can be put off, but it would be nice to get these things done so we can move on in every season for bigger repairs. That's all I got for pavement.
Okay. Highway garage roof project.
Can I?
Yep. Did you want to ask?
Are we outsourcing more than we have in the past for paving for the rest?
No, we're not outsourcing. The full reclamation has to be outsourced. We do not have the equipment to do full
To do the
reclamation,
grinding and the.
to grind it right down to dirt, like Richard did in the past years. And they reshape the roads because the roads are not shaped properly to crown them. Because a big issue with our roads being flat and tipped, without that crown, the water stays in the road. And if water stays in the road, that's where unraveling of the roads, and that's where delamination comes. That's where water issues start. And once we get in there with outsourcing, they re-engineer the road. They know how the water has to go.
So are we doing the paving part of it and they're doing the?
I'm trying to make it, they do the full reclamation,
Okay.
start to finish.
Okay.
When they leave, the road is paved. We have to stripe it. At the same time, on a lot of roads in other places that are smaller project, less timely and less costly, that we can, as a crew, take care of, because we don't want to get on those big projects. We get on a week, 2-week, 3-week project, that takes away from maintenance. And if we have to break to do maintenance, we're never going to finish those projects. That's why I took the roads that I want us to take care of, like Lowell Davis, Old Brandy Hill, those are roads that we can tackle in a short amount of time and we're done. And then in between those, I want to stay on the tree maintenance. I want to stay on the tree maintenance. These roads, these trees are diseased and they're falling down and we have to keep on them. If we take a break from them, they're gonna sneak up on us and we're never gonna catch up. And I say catch up is probably not in my lifetime. That's the way this town looks. But if we start a maintenance program with that, we can stay on that. And that's why I want us to do paving and maintenance and get the outsourcing done if possible, if we can afford it, if it's allowed. So the roads will be done, engineered, waterways done. I think that's the way to go.
And I know you have, an aggressive list of roads that you want to get done.
Mhm.
What are the ones that you want? Do you have priority 1, 2, 3 like this? So that if you have enough money, you can get, these are the 3 I have to have, like that I want to have done over the summer. I mean, the bigger projects
Oh, for the town or for outsourcing?
for outsourcing.
For outsourcing, our outsourcing consists of, I think, 6 roads altogether, which I even have the quote right here. Some with it, Harshaw. Which is Fabian Road, Old Route 12, Plum Road, Park Street, and Norman Hill. Those 5 roads, which obviously roads like Plum Road and Norman Hill, which are terrible, terrible. But those roads are kind of back roads, dead end roads. In an emergency, we can repair those roads. The crew can repair those roads. Fabian Road, Old Route 12. The good thing about Old Route 12 and the bad thing about Old Route 12. Old Route 12, once we do Old Route 12, Route 12 will not be done again in this century. There is no reason, there's no traffic. But we ran into issues with Route 12 that we have to, Old Route 12 that we have to address prior to doing the full reclamation on the road, which is involving engineering. And I can't even give you any ideas on it because we don't even have the engineers there to look at it yet. Park Street, we talked about that. I think that is a priority. Park Street is a priority. And Fabian Hill, those are number 1 for a full reclamation. Plum Road in Norman Hill is terrible. The only way to fix Norman Hill is a full reclamation. Because we've repaired that before. And we've repaired that before, and we've repaired that before, and it just doesn't stay. We can eliminate roads off of that. That is, they are prioritized. Fabian Road, obviously, number 1.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that.
Fabian Road,
Since I've been in office, that is the one thing that people have come to me every year and said, when are you doing Fabian Road?
and I
So
have
I'm really glad to hear that's number 1 on your priority list.
I'm gonna try not to get off track because we are on the budget thing. Everybody, I'm splitting the town in half by the highway. I'm gonna give people Christmas presents on one side, and next year I'm gonna give them Christmas presents on the other. The full reclamation is gonna go from one side to the other.
Although you do have some of the work you're doing on the
And-
other side.
And with the way I have it set up, the things this year on the west side of the highway, which are those roads that I just named off, Norman Hill, Park Street, Plum Road, Old Route 12, and Fabian, are gonna get the full reclamation. Our crew is gonna be working on Lowell Davis, Baker, Old Brandy Hill, Indian Inn, Quortown Farm in sections. I have shimmed because we have to do some drainage. And Azard Road, which Azard Road is a quick fix, but it's on the other side of the highway. And then next year, I'm gonna turn the pages around. We're gonna pick out some Porter Plain Road, Passay Road for next year. Those are on my radar. We're gonna go for the other side of the town, and we are gonna go work on, I'm just naming roads, say Bull Hill, and roads, smaller roads that we can handle in a short period of time with a less of amount of money. And everything is prioritized. If something happens on one side of town where we have, say, a bad washout, we have to take care of that.
Yeah.
Same thing with the trees. I want to get on a maintenance program, but if they start falling down on one end of town, we have to go take care of that for safety.
What are you doing on Baker Road?
Baker Road is going to be a full reclaim in the future, but for now, we are going to be doing some shimming because the road is coming apart, and it's because what I talked about before, the road is flat. And the water does not leave the road. We're gonna be working on the edges of the road for waterways and water paths. And when we shim, we are gonna create, in certain areas of that, we are gonna create it so that the shims aren't just flat patches, like a patch on a tire. The water that sits in that area, we are going to crown it, so the water does leave that area. When it comes time to full reclamation, those patches we put in will get dug up again, but when they full reclaim, we'll be reusing that asphalt.
You're doing just the tar part?
Yes, we're not gonna be going beyond that. We went beyond that, and that was a problem, and we have to take it up. That is gonna get graded, that is gonna get that is gonna get gravelled.
Yeah.
And like we have in the past. We went through, last year before possibly, we had a company come in and they actually ground the gravel up and did it. My personal opinion is a waste of time because it looked exactly like it did the week after.
Potholes.
It was full of water. So the only thing to do with scenic roads and gravel roads is maintain them twice a year. And in between, if we have a problem, we have an extremely wet summer, we may have to go in there with the grader and fill in
Yeah.
and take care of it, so it's not as bumpy, or it is safe to the people to travel through those scenic roads. We will address those issues as they come up.
Sounds like you have a good plan going.
Any other questions for Joe on paving? Road work and paving?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, so moving on down the list, I'm gonna skip that for now. Highway garage roof project. We know that the highway garage leaks. We don't quite know what we need to do at this point, but we do want to make sure that something is allocated. Joe is working to get some quotes, not necessarily on the full repair of the roof. That'll come as well. Actually, you're working on several quotes. Why don't you talk?
What my idea is I know there's lots of options that I don't know about for repairing a metal roof of that size. The whole idea is to get somebody in to give me some quotes on a full repair. We've had so many leaks for so long with the insulation up in there. The insulation has gotten wet. I can guarantee there's black mold up there. It has not become an issue. We haven't done an air quality test on it. I don't think we need to at this time. Maybe in the future we will. But for the different quotes that come in that I've kind of went online and read about a little bit, where they take a giant steel roof, they go up, they do repairs and patching and replacement of screws, and they actually spray it with a rubberized thing. I'm not saying go up there with Flex Seal or anything like that, but something along that line. And then get the price on what it does cost to replace the whole roof. Because to get a roof repaired, say if it costs $150,000 to repair it and costs $300,000 to replace it, we're gonna have to figure that out. Is it worth it to put 100 into it or 150 into it? And then 4 or 5 years down the road, put another 300 into it again, which I'm sure it's gonna be more than 300, but I'm just throwing out some figures there. But like it was brought up to me, I didn't really think about it, even though that if we get a company to come in and do repairs and patching and they spray it, do they guarantee it? Will they guarantee it for 10 years? So that gives us time to save a little bit of money over the course of time to get the roof repaired. I've called into a couple of companies. Logistics of getting people to come even look at things is very difficult these days. So I'm just gonna call a whole bunch of people. I'm not gonna favor anybody. You wanna come and look at it and you wanna give us a price? We'll take your quote and we'll look at it. And we're gonna look at the quality of work and get references on the quality of their work. And I think we should go from there.
So for now, I thought it was important that we put something in to say, hey, alert, this needs to get done within the next year or two. Something needs to get done because it is leaking bad in many locations of the roof.
Exactly.
So it's not something that we can continue to ignore and pretend that it's just gonna go away. So right now, that number is just a rough number. Joe and I hope to get some firmer numbers soon. Certainly before March 2nd, or at least before the Board of Finance really starts drilling in. Any questions on that roof project? request.
Really interesting how they do quotes on roofs now. They don't come out and look.
Oh, that's true.
They don't, they probably take aerial photos
Yeah.
and then they measure the square footage of your building.
Yep.
Give a guesstimate on the pitch.
It's more
and-
about the materials.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly, and the price of steel, I imagine metal roof of that size, that thing's almost a third of a football field size.
Building.
1973, I believe. And that roof has been replaced. That roof was replaced.
1990.
No, it was when I was here, I'm guessing 2007, 2006. And we ran into problems within years, just after that. So that's why references on work quality of the people that we do hire, I think, is a definite. I don't think it happened the last time. I think it was like, this guy will do it and he's the cheapest guy. Well, you get what you paid for.
That was the
And that's what-
report, that Lars gave that. It was the lowest price bid. And then he claims that the company went out of business after.
When we
like,
started running
immediately
into
after.
problems,
Retired and.
the company went bankrupt.
Yeah.
And then we had nothing to fall upon but ourselves, so we were up there fixing the roof.
Yeah, right.
So,
All right, so that's the roof. Any questions about the roof? All right, 9-ton Freightliner Henke snowplow unit. Joe is requesting another, only to keep the old ones. You know, bringing in new ones, recycling through. Your oldest in the fleet is a 1988, I believe you said.
yes, 1988, our number 3 truck, yes.
Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I can go on for a little bit with this.
Okay,
We'll start off with the number 3 truck in 1988, number 5 truck, which is, these are all still in service. Number 5 truck, which is a 1992. Our number 10 truck, which is our backup plow truck, sander, all-season body, which is a 1996, I believe, 1996. And all these trucks, yes, if you go look at the odometers, they have low mileage on them. These trucks are a thing of the past. They do not, they are pretty beat up. Yes, they are still fully functional and still DOT safe. But you cannot rely on these trucks in the dead of winter at 2 o'clock in the morning when the snow is blowing. I wouldn't ask any of the guys. And when I was the mechanic, I kept their trucks running so they would not have to sit in one of these trucks in the middle of the night and drive around in them. And then we get into the newer trucks. The truck is still absolutely in good shape. It is a 2004. That is a new truck, a 2004, 2006, 2008, 2009, 2012. And you think about that you look at these trucks and they are still very beautiful. They are becoming antiquated. The 2004 truck, which is in the repair bay at this time, putting a steering box, passenger side steering box, steering gear on it. It took me 3 weeks to get this through international. If this was a snowy season, we can't wait 3 weeks to get a part for a 2004 truck. The driver of that truck would be driving the 1996 plow truck, which I don't think he'd be working for us anymore because he probably would have said, I'm going home. And I don't really blame him.
When was the last time we got a new truck?
we just,
I thought so.
Yeah,
We just got one.
Kevin's truck, which is a 2017. I just signed the paperwork in November on a new one. And I want to keep putting in for new ones to replenish these. So our backup trucks, this 2004, which we have a hard time getting, will become a backup truck.
Right. So with the 1988, are you able to sell it? Able to,
I think that'll go, it's not worth trading. It's scrap
they
value.
won't take it, yeah, so go.
I don't think they would take it. No, we'll have to go gov deals. we can't really do private sales. We're not supposed
For
to
the
do private
nineteen
sales.
eighty-eight, you can't put it out for a private thing.
No, not for the general public.
You have to put it
Maybe
on-
we could do an auction thing, but I think that's a big hassle for us personally to do an auction on our property. There is a couple of programs. One of them is Gov Deals. You put it on Gov Deals. And everybody can look at it from California to Maine, from Florida on down. Somebody says, hey, I like that old truck. And they can sign up for Gov Deals. They don't have to be a municipality, any resident or anything, but they have to sign up for Gov Deals, and you buy it through Gov Deals. And when it leaves, it's not our responsibility.
Okay, so we might be able to sell some of that.
No, I know we will. Those trucks are a hot commodity because they are no emissions. Those are what the guys over the road, but with their little construction businesses, they want things like that, and they'll pump 30 grand into it. It'll pass DOT inspection, and then they get to do whatever they want to do with it.
Okay.
But that's something I have to look into with this Gov Deal thing. I don't know. And even like I'm not sure what, I think it's called Ritchie Brothers. Now, it used to be Petrowski down in Franklin, Mass. We did do the auction thing, which in a way was kind of difficult. We had to get all of our stuff down there. What didn't sell, we had to go get our stuff down there. Yes, we made money on the deal. I think we made like $20,000, close to that. Somewhere in that area, which all rolling was good, but we had to take 5 guys out of the crew to get stuff down there and trailer it down there because I'm not getting rid of junk.
Right.
I'm getting rid of good stuff,
Right.
but the junk that I do get rid of, we got to figure out how to get it down there. 90% of the time, if it's junk, it is going to go to the scrapyard. That is the best way to get rid of it because that is all it's worth. You don't want to put a reserve on something that it's actually only worth scrap. The easiest way, send it to the scrapyard, take the check and go. Let them worry about it from there. I am, next year, I'm gonna put in for another truck, and I'm gonna try my best. In the safe fleet, those are extremely heavy vehicles. They have a very dangerous weapon on the front of them going down the road. In the middle of a snowstorm. I want safe equipment for the public and for the guys out there running it because we run them long hours. I want nice equipment. I want to get on a program that will outlast me for replenishing our equipment, especially as far as I'm concerned, our main job is to keep the roads safe. It's not paving the roads, it's keeping the roads safe. That's going out there, keeping the ice, the snow, everything off the road so the people, when they do have an EMS, when they do have to travel, that those roads are safe to do that. And as far as I'm concerned, I think plowing and winter maintenance is number one. And I want to get good equipment for our guys. It makes it a lot easier for us in the long run to take care of those roads with good equipment.
Okay. Any other questions about this 9-ton Freightliner request? All right, so on to MS4 retrofit projects construction. This is harder a concept to understand, but according to J&D Civil Engineers, we are going to have a plan in place to disconnect the stormwater outfalls and the drainage into, it has to be made so that it's not seeping into the rivers, if I'm correct.
Correct.
And as
into
we do-
waterways, not just rivers, brooks,
Right.
waterways.
So we need to have a plan in place. One of the things in particular was, and you'll see it, I didn't go over it in this budget because it's technically not Joe's capital request, but we do need to reclaim actually, maybe I will keep you in here for that one. We had to reclaim the town hall parking lot. Full reclamation and paving comes in a total of 72,000, but in addition, Janet had mentioned the disconnection of
Downspouts.
the downspouts and replacing them with rain gardens.
Rain gardens. And yes, it's a very odd thing, but that gives us, they called it a percentage points. toward the state of Connecticut. For every time that we build, for instance, here, this parking lot, the Blaine Road intersection,
Fabian Road too.
and Fabian Road, where we are going to put in grassy areas. And these grassy areas are gonna have these blocks of patios put in, which are small squares that water absorbs into the grassy area and the loam and things like that. And what it does is it slows the water down. It's eventually gonna get to the river, but the soil filters it. Everything filters it before it gets to the river. And that is the whole idea, to disconnect from the river. The water still will get there, but it'll be filtered through grassy areas, sediment ponds, pools, these brick layouts and things like that. Even our catch basins that come from this parking lot, which cross Route 12 and then cross the park. Those areas from here to Route 12 directly go underneath the park and right to the river. That eventually is going to have to get changed to a sediment pond.
Is this a state or a federal mandate?
It's actually both.
Right.
It is a state, which the state mandates their rules and how. I think, and in turn, I think they did that in effect to areas because like Connecticut was industrial with all of our mills, which it was built up in a certain way. Same thing like with Massachusetts. When you get to upstate New York, they didn't have all the linen mills and everything like that. So it is federally applied and state mandated in the areas. If you look at the MS4 maps, there are key locations that come into play for how it affects it and how you have to address it. Right down the French River, right alongside of Route 12. Those areas are highlighted, and Quartic. Those areas are highlighted because of the mills on the river, which used to use the water for the function of the mills and dump all their waste into it because that's what they did. Those are the key areas for us in this town. And as you get towards Woodstock, all it is cross culverts, which we have to do water testing. It's actually soil samples with different seasons, which wet season, wet occurrences, dry occurrences. So you just can't go test it and it's good. It takes months to test it. And that is why one of the things we need money for is testing, which is not cheap.
But this is only the construction.
This is the
And there's
construction.
also unfunded mandates.
Correct.
There's no federal or state money.
Not as of right now, and I know why it's not because of right now, because this has become a big play for the whole state, but not just Connecticut, everybody. So I think they're holding off to find out what's going to happen, and then they're going to start handing out grants for the troubled people, for pollution control areas. Then they'll put things like that into place.
Right.
So the towns that can't afford to fix their problem will have it. But as of right now,
Well, and the truth is, our problems are minimal. You'll
Yeah.
hear it all the
Minimal, they're big for our towns.
Well, no, but I'm saying that the problem
Oh, I see
with
what you're
municipal storm runoff
is
from
minimal.
minimal.
compared to the city,
The bigger industrial.
industry and.
And in turn, we haven't run into it yet, which I'm sure we will. Our storm drains running into their storm drains. Who is responsible for that? Is it gonna be a co-op thing? Where did they put their outfalls? Where is their illicit discharge? Because it's theirs, but it is also part of ours. So that's something that we don't know about yet. But are they gonna say, well, it's your water too, so you're gonna have to cut the end of that off, and you're gonna have to take care of the area wherever it may be to make it so the water's not rushing off, so it's slowly dissipating into the ground and filtering as it goes.
So the 50,000 is for the constructions of those types of
construction
construction
projects,
project
which
that will
will,
coincide with work we're already doing.
exactly, which, with J&D, which will be engineered, which will help us with how to make these projects happen. So the state will say, thank you very much for putting your effort in.
You
You
get
got
a
a 2% point, you get a gold. Exactly, and it works going. We are obligated to do a percentage of what our illicit discharge is. We are required to do a percentage of it every single year. Which, like I said, ours isn't big, so our percentage is minimum. It will probably be 2 or 3 waterways a year, which those waterways that we pick out will be ones that need repair anyway.
Right, right.
So
that
that's-
you would have to
that's-
put some investment.
That's
into
the
it.
idea. Instead of doing one that doesn't need repair, the ones we repair, we will repair our drainage system, our infrastructure for it, cross culvert, catch basin, whatever it may be, and whatever the outfall is, we'll repair it. And then we'll be killing basically 2 birds with 1 stone. Not that we're gonna save any money on it, but still, we'll be saving
We'll be
manpower.
Compliant and we'll be getting it.
Exactly, we definitely
And it
will try to be
ADA
compliant.
compliant.
And it seems like with
Right.
the MS4, as long as we stay compliant, we'll be fine.
We'll be okay. And the engineering company make sure it's all ADA compliant.
Everything.
And they
They
clear-
tell, basically, they
Yeah.
tell us what to do.
Mhm.
To be compliant with the MS4 system. Because for us, if we gotta think about it for a minute, we gotta whip out all the maps and all the books, and we gotta figure out exactly what we gotta do. If we ask the questions, they tell us exactly what to do, and for reference, we go back to our plan.
So last thing that's on here, it's not a public works request, it's my request. Joe did the legwork on it, and that's the 2 town hall parking lots. It was both of them, right?
Yes, correct.
Full reclamation, if you've ever, most of us have been in the parking lot, it's in incredible disrepair. And full reclamation is necessary. So this is that request.
And the full reclamation is definitely needed. But was also, I was unaware of this, which, my fault, I should have been aware of this. The parking lot is incorrect for handicap parking. The percentage grade of the parking lot is incorrect.
It's not the right grade.
It is not the right.
No.
So in turn, the shape of the parking lot, for instance, on the Selectmen side, the school side of the building, is not gonna be at one angle. It is gonna come down, and then it's gonna be flat, and then it's gonna drop again. The flat area is gonna meet the required percentage for wheelchair and handicap use, which I talked with the construction people, which those are the people that told me, and they told me the percentages that it's supposed to be, and they said that they will fix that and make that compliant. The only problem may be is some of the sidewalks for there, we will have to adapt our sidewalks to keep them in the right grade for handicap, which on both sides of the building, there is handicap, not as much on the post office side, but they will be fixing that anyway. He said he would, the quotes that I've got, they said that is definitely a thing they can work with.
Any questions on any of these capital budget items?
No, the parking lots for the town hall is long overdue.
Definitely. And we have some construction coming up with Connecticut Water, which the present Connecticut Water, which runs through the town hall parking lot, they will be eliminating that to the pumping station, transfer pump station behind the town hall. They will be eliminating all of that, and it's going to be going up through the school property. They do not need do not have the need for the pumping station in the tank anymore with the new water lines they put in pressure. So, which is going to be good, because there will all the water shutoffs and everything that are in our parking lots won't be in our parking lots anymore. That'll all be gone. And it'll still be there, but it'll be underneath 10 to 15 inches of asphalt.
All right, any other questions for Joe at this time? Because this concludes his budget. He's like, yeah.
Thank you.
Any citizen comments at this time? Any citizen comments? All right, hearing none, we will end this portion of the budget workshop. Thank you, Joe.
Okay,
Have a good
Gotta
night.
hang
Thanks, Joe.
we'll see you later. Enjoy.
And if everybody doesn't mind, I'm just gonna take a quick break. So I'm gonna
Okay.
pause the recording and I will be right back. Okay, thank you for your patience. Ken, are you still with us before we get started?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
You're back on.
Yep, I'm back on. All right, hold on a second, while I switch over and get to the next budget. All right, starting with the Board of Selectmen budget. I have Marie Mongeau, basically the woman who runs this town hall, on with us tonight or today to share this budget. Let me move everything over. All right. Hey, Marie, did you submit the budget?
Yes, I did.
Thought you did. Oh, you know what? I gotta switch over. Hold on. My fault. All right. This is better. Do you have bottled water here? Don't, except for my
have one in the car. I'll have to make this last.
All right, you are set to go. Can you, oh wait, I haven't shared the screen, have I? Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Can you see it now? Everybody can see that? Can everybody see the screen?
Yeah, we got
I
it.
can see it, Amy.
Yep, we can see it.
So you can get started.
All righty, so Board of Selectmen, it's a pretty quick budget to go through. Right now, it includes the salaries for the first, or the stipends for the second and third selectmen. Those have remained at 4,000 pending any increase that the first selectman or the board would like to see. Let's see, annual and special town meetings. That is for advertising. So basically, if we have one or two special town meetings and our one annual meeting, we're pretty good with the 3,000. And that's where I'll knock on wood and say where we're going to stay.
Town dues and membership.
Town dues and memberships. These are basically items that we pay annually. The Connecticut Conference of Municipalities, we use their services. NECOG, Northeast Connecticut Council of Governments, we make payment to them based on a per capita cost. The Chamber of Commerce and the Thompson Business Association. And those are the dues and memberships that the Board of Selectmen pay.
Any questions on the Board of Selectmen budget? Because that's everything.
Not at this time.
Are NECOG and CCM, are those requirements?
CCM is not a requirement. It is we have been a member for a long time. They do advocate for towns.
Are we shutting down?
Oh, sorry. They do advocate for towns at the legislative what the hell happened?
Did it shut everything down?
I think it did. Oh, come on.
We can still see you guys.
How do we benefit from CCM?
They used to have a lot of training.
What are we paying for them?
6,000. Okay, can everybody hear me again?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. We have a new screen. And the screen shut down and it shut everything else down, so I do apologize.
Is that a whiteboard? That's a really.
It's a
cool-
whiteboard too.
That's a really cool screen.
So Suzanne was asking about CCM and specifically asked if it was a requirement. Certainly not a requirement. They do interact with the town a lot. They share information about upcoming legislative changes. They always send us notification about the grants that we'll be receiving, you know, the things like the town road aid and LoSiP and things like that. So, I mean, they're an advocate for this,
you'd
They're
like-
also great, they're also great for resources.
right?
If you'd like, Susie, and I can check and get a little bit more information for you on that.
If you don't mind and you have time.
Yep.
I'm not going to object that it's in the budget or anything, but I'm just curious, what are we actually getting for our $6,000? And is it beneficial? I mean, do we use the resources?
We do, like Michelle just reached out because there was a question about potentially adding a part-time communications person. And she had called to find out how many towns had communications,
But is there another
Directors.
way to do that? I mean,
calling different towns, town to town to town.
might be less costly than 6,000.
Right.
So I'm just curious. Thank you, Marie.
You're welcome. I'll look it up.
Yeah, they also compile jobs, the pay scales for the different areas. They're just a great resource for a lot of what we do.
They
Yeah.
are if we're using it.
Well, you know, I've used it in the past, you know, just on salaries and different things to get a handle, you know, for towns of our size. So it is very beneficial.
I mean, I can honestly say I wouldn't hold fast to saying that they were absolutely essential for a town. So I'll just leave it at that. And I'm always the type of person that says, well, we don't do something just because it's what we've always done. Maybe it isn't, maybe you asking these questions is a good thing. There was a time when I first took office that there was a lot more training sessions that we were notified about. I'm not seeing as much of that anymore. And that's always free to town hall employees. But yeah, but Maria will gather some more
Thanks,
information
Marie.
for you. Any other questions about this budget line? Citizen comments? Any citizen comments? All right, we'll move on to the first selectman budget.
All right, for the first selectman, you'll see that there are some job categories here that are not used. That's because those have changed over time or been shifted. Responsibilities have shifted. Nothing has been added. The first selectman salary at this moment is flat. The exec assistant is an increase of 2.25%, which is in line with what staff are getting based on the bargaining agreement. The HR director right now has remained flat. That's a split with the school. I'm sure there'll be conversations between Amy and Melinda as far as whether that is increasing and at what level so that we can make an adjustment there.
Correct.
And then the recording secretary also shows the 2.25% increase.
I keep moving down.
Nothing there.
All right, travel I reduced. For the most part, we end up using the town vehicle. There's not a, yeah, so if we found that people were needing to use their own vehicles and be reimbursed, we would change that. The price has gone up to 65.5 cents per mile, which isn't, it's basically just a notation. For meetings and fees, This is for people to attend the CCM conference, which of course will be affected if we are no longer going to belong to CCM. We could still attend, but that would be different. We have a membership with the ADA of Connecticut for making sure that we're following guidelines for Americans with Disabilities Act. And they provide training, which I know Michelle is interested in taking. I have gone through it. And then there's a conference, there's a conference too. So that's what that amount is for.
Because we're members of the CCM, is there a fee to attend?
Yes, but it's reduced from non-members.
Okay.
All right, for training, this would normally be for something that we might need that's coming up if we have a new program coming in or somebody that's starting to work with a different sort of database or item like that. The training would cover that. It will most likely go for if the ADA training for Michelle doesn't happen this year, it will happen next year, and if not, it will be used for another training option. All right, advertising. So the advertising within the first selectman's budget is for all of the legal announcements of public hearings. If we advertise bids, all of our help wanted advertising, and any public service sort of advertising where we may be giving more detail or explaining in other terms what the legal announcement might be saying. So that I've left that at 6,000. No, I'm sorry, it went up. Yes, it went up. That was because we've had so much happen in the way of help wanted advertising that Michelle and Bill chatted and agreed that we could bump that up to 6,000. Printing and publication for this past year, it was just the labor law posters that we had to do. So I think we're showing over budget for this year because it wasn't included in the original total, but Michelle is now getting those annually, so that will be a regular cost to us. Office supplies have remained, I've just left them the same. The miscellaneous category, that includes the Providence and Worcester Railroad lease, which is $388. And then the other money can be used in a variety of ways, which is, flowers for the grounds, Christmas decorations, if there are other miscellaneous expenses that come up.
And that's first selectman's budget. Any questions on the first selectman budget? No. Okay. Moving on to data processing, which is IT, I believe.
Yep. All right, so data processing supplies, it has remained flat, but it does cover all the items that you see on the screen right now. Live stream camera system, we have that, but if there were replacement pieces that we would need to get, that would fall under that line.
Okay.
All right. Training, we have that in there again as well for training, which may come up along the lines of data processing. If there was something that we were doing with the school where we needed to bring, somebody in, we could pay an outside person, or we could, so we could send someone for training. All right, now the professional services. So Zoom. Zoom is our cloud storage and the Zoom program, which allows us to do these meetings. Canva is a graphic design plan, program that the recreation department uses and that our office also uses for the creation of flyers, brochures, the selectmen's update, and those sorts of things.
Is that a shared expense?
At the moment, it's not. It could be. So if you'd like to give me some direction on that, I'd be happy to talk with the rec department.
Has it always been in this? It's always been here, right, Marie?
No, it hasn't. It has been a rec department expense. And we did, the selectman's office used a free program which didn't give us the breadth of or the access to as much as we needed to create what we need to create. So when it went up, it switched to our budget.
Okay. I would lean on finance and Bill as far as whether or not it's worthwhile for $240 to be split between two departments.
I was just wondering if this was
Oh, this was only a portion of it.
$480 program, and if
Gotcha.
we were paying half of it. I'm not asking that I mean, technically, it probably
gotcha
should be
now.
split, but it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
It's not that,
You wanted to know if it was
I just
more.
wanted to know if it was a $480 program.
So.
Oh,
the full amount, right?
it's 240
Okay,
total.
okay.
Thank you, Suzanne.
For the shredder, that's been eliminated because we were able to actually, oh, am I getting? oh,
Sorry.
Yeah.
I jumped ahead.
Okay, so the reason we've been able to eliminate the shredder is that we were able to make a swap with the highway department. They had a large scale shredder that they didn't need, and it was what we needed in town hall. So we swapped out, so we will not need to bring in a shredding service, which is what this line paid for in the past.
And I will say that their large shredder actually was a free donation from Moffray Insurance.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Shout out to Moffray. So,
All right, so now we're on Wi-Fi. All right, so right now we have public Wi-Fi, which so the public can access it for $180. For staff, it's basically being run through a set of routers, just like a home router, which is not the most secure way to have this set up. And Heather from the school IT department asked that we put in $6,000 to set up business Wi-Fi at town hall with 3 hotspots.
So is that just like a setup fee cost, initial cost, and then it won't be there again? Or is it a maintenance or ongoing
It would be maintenance, it would be ongoing.
every year?
Yeah,
and Marie, just to reiterate, that's for secure lines, correct?
yes. Actually, I take that back, Suzanne. I'm gonna double check on that because when she said put in 6,000, I really didn't get the detail on it. So let me find out from her how that breaks out with one time or recurring.
I believe that's the setup, Marie, but since we're not certain, we should probably just have a quick check with Heather.
Yep, I'll do that.
Yeah, I would have to think that there's got to be some equipment upgrade in order to do that, which would be a one-time.
Right.
But just clarification so that when the Board of Finance asks, we'll know what we're talking about.
Absolutely. All right, so that's Apex.
Oh, here's Apex.
Right. Oops, I spelled town hall wrong. This was in town hall building repairs and it didn't it didn't belong there. It really belonged under IT. So I shifted that.
All right.
Right.
Oh, let me scroll this one down. All right, here we go. The programs.
All right, so yeah, the descriptions you'll be able to see what they're for. Tyler Munis is, can you go over that? No, yeah, thanks, Amy.
You want me to open this up?
Yeah, open them, please.
There you go.
So that's the accounting software. I have to remember what's what. So Tyler is the accounting software that's used by the finance department. Vision is used by the assessor. It's his valuation program, along with the cloud hosting and web hosting. So these are, unless we stop using these for some reason, these are set things that we really can't do anything about. Quality is used by both That's the tax office. Wait a minute, let me look at one other thing, excuse me a second. And for quality, this is actually used by the assessor's office and the tax office, and it also filters through IT. ClearGov is what you're looking at, the budgeting program. And we're locked in for this price until 2025. So that's that. Okay, Alon Cloud Hosting. The reason that that has dropped to 0 is that I moved it from lease maintenance. Hang on a second to I apologize.
Marie, I have it up on the screen. Was it moved to town
Oh,
hall?
it's moved to Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Just jumped off. There we go. Okay. Oh, yes, thank you. That's correct. So it's the internet line. So there's actually an internet budget line item in town hall. So I moved it there. It was listed as a Alon Cloud Hosting. Alon is our credit card. So that needed to be elsewhere. Yep, Blueprint Machine is used by by Wetlands Conservation, the assessor's office, and we don't have to. We own it, or at least we own it, but we pay for supplies. School IT, we have left static for now. Office 365, that is software, so I moved that to the software line. And then website maintenance is Civic Plus, which is our website provider, and then HostGator, which we use for backup.
So is Munis a shared cost?
No.
Yes, it is,
Okay.
Suzanne. We actually, it's not quite 50-50 because there are different modules within Munis that the school uses versus the town. But we actually go through the bill every year and we charge the respective pieces to each part of the budget.
Okay.
It's close to 50-50.
I thought that from previous budgets, but
Yep.
so quality, some of the contracts that are not technically, so that comes under okay. I'm just confused, like a little bit as to why some of the programs are used by the different departments, but they're charged out to this one. Like quality is used
I know,
by
But it's good to have it. I know we always question,
I get
well, why
why
isn't it
it's
here?
in one place.
It's just later on, it'll be, well, why did this increase in the assessor's budget?
True.
It's easier to have it all in one place.
Has it always been?
It's
in
always
one place?
been. As far as I know.
As far as I know, yeah.
And to Amy's point, if you start moving things around, it does, and you lose the history, it does become a little bit of a hurdle in the budgeting process.
Okay.
Well, also for Paula remembering which line item in Munis she's gonna post things to. Because everything gets posted out. Marie, was there any explanation as far as vision, the increase to vision? Did that have something to do, or should I just ask Paul about it? I think he added some services to vision, if I'm remembering correctly. It's just 43% seems like a lot.
Right, he sent me a copy of the letter where they gave him a quote and it was broken down, but I don't know if any of it was new.
Okay,
So that would be a Paul question.
okay, I'll have to ask Paul.
I'll make a note of it too.
So we still had a few more line items in this section of the budget. Software, Marie.
Okay, so it looks huge, but that's only because we moved Office 365
That's
from the lease section to the software section, which is what it is.
right.
And it also includes Adobe Financial and Adobe Pro.
Yeah.
And then for software updates, this year we don't have anything, but Heather let me know that for next fiscal year, the Dell server software update is going to be needed. So we left a placeholder in of $10.
All right. That concludes IT and data processing. Is there any questions any other questions in regard to this?
I'm good.
Same here.
Okay. All right, moving on to town council.
Town council, we have left as is. Bill and I had a conversation, and for now, we think that we can stay with that.
Any questions on town council? Okay. Oh, town hall building.
Oh, probate court.
Oh,
You already did probate with them, right?
yeah.
Okay, yep, town hall building, okay. All right. Again, you'll see different titles here. The person who's currently employed by us, we have one person who's the maintainer custodian. And the reason for that increase, Amy and I chatted, and she wanted to increase his pay to $20 per hour, because he is not just doing maintenance work. He's actually, I'm not just doing custodial work. He's working inside and outside the building, doing repairs and things that call for more knowledge than a standard custodial position. And then when he is away, we bring subs in. They only do the custodial work, and they're already paid $18 an hour.
So a job description change.
Right. Well, so what it is Pete Ernst, who has been the custodian and maintainer for a number of years, is partially in Florida now during the winter months. He is such a valuable asset to the town. And he was happy to come back and work from April until about October. We have a long list of things for him to do, and in his absence, we have some subs that have been coming in. They're employed per diem at the school, so they work for us as well. And I just know that with Pete gone, it's been a huge void. There's a long list of things that we need from him, and I just thought it was important to pay him slightly more.
So he's doing maintenance and cleaning,
Correct.
and the others are doing straight
Cleaning.
cleaning.
Yeah.
So there's two different job descriptions.
Correct.
So regardless as to who it is, the person that's doing the maintenance and the cleaning would make sense, we would pay them a little more.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
That was the thinking. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got it. But I love to expound on the virtues of Pete, because with him being gone, it's always, well, who are we going to get to do this? And a lot of times we have to call out to somebody else, to a plumber or an electrician, and things, that little projects that Pete,
so you have to outsource, and it costs you more in the long run.
Yeah.
So it's more cost
He's worth
effective to.
keep it in-house. All right,
Okay.
I'm done.
All right, for travel, that remained at $50. There are times where Pete needs to take his truck to go to pick up materials from different businesses where they've made purchases. So we've left that amount in there for him. Cleaning services, that's for carpet cleaning and floor buffing. We have not done that yet for this year, but it is on tap. And that would be the hallways and the offices being done, as well as the cine room. Okay, for the phones, this is the cost for the phones, the phone system in town hall, as well as the Frontier alarm phone line. Internet charges, this is I moved this from, that was the one that was the Elan Cloud Hosting and IT. It's actually an internet line in town hall, so I moved it here. And it is, we actually do it through the state of Connecticut. It's what the school uses as well.
Postage.
Okay, so for postage, we did have, there's been a price increase, so that's gone up, and I also took the lease of the postage machine out of this line. This was supposed to be just for actual postage that we've used in mailings. There's actually a separate line that says copier and postage rental, so I moved that piece down to that line. Electricity, we're gonna come in higher than we expected, so even though last year it may have only been 15,000 or we was budgeted, I'm doing the 20% on what the expected final expenditure is, which is 18,600. Oh, heating. Price increase, and I spoke with Bill about this on what we should put in. So that's where that number came from as far as number of gallons.
And Marie or Bill, the $3.48 is what will be locked in as of July 1 through the 2024, if I remember correctly, and the 2025 season, or was it just 2024?
That is for fiscal 24.
Okay.
Wait, did that go up?
What's that?
Wait, go back?
Which one?
Oh,
Fuel heating?
yeah.
Yes. Oh, did it just change something? What was nice?
No, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it was 98%.
Okay.
For service contracts. So this includes the Venture fire alarm. They monitor our security alarm and they do fire testing. This had been in maintenance, in building repairs. And it's actually a service contract that they provide this for us as part of the contract, as opposed to it being a repair. And the elevator, they do annual repairs and testing. Building repairs and maintenance is where everything falls. So these are just saying the things I moved out, but you can erase that if it's confusing. I can completely understand. And the reason that it went up is that there are some major projects that are going to be happening. The part of the roof on the town hall has to be repaired. There's also going to be some exterior town hall, exterior building of town hall work being done, which we're expecting is going to cost quite a bit.
Do we have quotes or
So
factual information?
the roof that Marie's talking about, there is currently a leak in the craft room for recreation, the closet here in the cine room. It was determined by Bill Higgins that the leak exists underneath the stairs going into the second floor entrance. It is a membrane roof. He believes it might have been punctured somehow when one of the stairs were repaired last year, but he's not positive, but that's one of the projects. We think that'll be covered in this year's budget. But what is being proposed is we do have pressure washing that's going to take place on this town hall building because it's terribly moldy and it's really getting run down. So we've also gotten a quote for exterior painting, and that's actually $9,780, I think, is what that quote came in for. We can still go out to bid, but right now we have that quote. So that, what I had Marie do was add that to what we usually spend, and we typically spend around $12,000 in general maintenance on this building. So I added in the cost of the painting.
There was some roof repairs done on this building a couple of years ago. Is this, or was in the budget? I don't know if it got pulled out or ever done. Does
Well,
that ring a
Ken,
bell?
do you remember, was that the flat roof? Didn't Higgins?
Yeah, we did the flat roof,
But now
oh
there's a-
God. They had a black mold problem that was leaking in the back room where all the records are kept. And that was done.
yes. And it's still sturdy,
I think I
it's
was-
just,
I
it
think
was
I was on the board of
compromised.
Finance, so that must be like 5 or 6 years ago. Does that sound right?
Oh, yes, Eddie, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so
Like
that's
6 years ago.
No, normally on
Anything.
any given year, we spend about $12,000.
right.
So really, the only thing
Okay.
that's extra in here
Is
is the
paint,
painting,
okay.
yeah, to make sure that we have enough to cover our normal expenses.
I just remembered a roof on this building at
Okay,
some
it was
point that
that.
was a part of, but now I get it, thank you.
All right, so exterminating, Marie.
Their prices increased, but that's all, they come regularly and do the tests.
Okay.
Okay, the copier and postage rental, so this is where I ended up moving the postage machine into this line. And the reason that the end result is actually makes the line lower is that we bought released new copy machines. And they all came in at a lower price than what we were paying for the older ones.
That's good.
That doesn't usually happen.
No. We'll pay.
Water and sewer charges.
So we pay for sewer, as you can see, Town Hall, Riverside Park, the ball field, and 65 Main. And then water for the town hall and for the recreation building that's at the field. And then office supplies and custodial supplies, we've left flat.
Okay. Any questions on town hall building? Okay. Ken, you good?
I'm good.
On to general services. All right,
Now, you've heard from some of these people already. So the fuel assistance is administered by Teague. And we just dropped that by $1,000. They have not used it yet this year, so we thought we could take a little bit off that. Northeast Transit District, that,
They've not tapped into it at all?
no,
no, we haven't in the last couple of years.
I thought I remembered that they have not actually even used that line.
Right, but they
Right.
all ask that we keep it in. If it had been a cold year, they might have used it, especially with fuel prices being higher.
That's why I was surprised.
Yeah,
Okay,
they may still. They just haven't requested it yet.
Northeast Transit District, this was covered by John Filcheck, and I just plugged the number in. It's based on a per capita. The elderly sewer, WPCA increased their fees this year, so we're going to be running high for this year's final budget numbers. So we increased it by 15%, and that was a discussion with Bill. I believe United Services already presented.
No, they did not present.
Oh, they didn't.
Never got back to me, but Marie, this was their request of us. Is that what they requested?
Yeah, let me just take a quick peek here.
Oh, that's right. It was.
Yes, yes, for them, it's again based on population. And they do a per capita this year at 72 cents per capita.
what did we have in that line item last year?
In this year, 2,000.
It's just the request that they.
No,
made.
no, I know that, yeah. No, I just wanted to,
I just wanted to make sure nobody thought I was,
No,
I was recommending that.
that's not your recommendation, that's the request from, I get that. Okay. Thank you.
All right, Teague, I believe, did present.
All right, so what else do we have? And TVCCA did.
Wait,
Okay,
so they're asking for
Meals
an
on
additional
Wheels.
like 50,000, 5,000? Who, Teague?
From
last year?
Yes, I think that's what it was. That was what their request, yes, 5,000. Yeah. Okay. And then TVCCA was the Meals on Wheels.
Yep.
Community Kitchens did not present. They did not return.
Did they,
They did ask for this, correct, Marie?
yes, they sent in a letter requesting it. And it's the same as last year.
thank you.
Yeah.
And they used it last year.
They did, everybody in the category with the exception of the fuel oil, everybody took their funds. All right,
Town scholarship.
Yep.
Yep, 2 scholarships at $500. The Sexual Assault Crisis Center has requested a flat funding. The same with the Quinnebog Valley Senior Center and Access. The Last Green Valley has asked for additional funding for this year.
I think we did 250 last year. Yeah, 250
Yeah.
last.
And they're looking for 500. The Eastern Connecticut Land Bank, last year, their amount was 3,950, and they're looking for 10,000. And then Day Kimball Homemakers is looking for 2,000. They received 1,000 last year, and I did just put a note in there that if we can, we need to change the name to Day Kimball Homemakers, because the information was going to, oh goodness, where's my, there it is. It's Day Kimball Home Care. Homemakers is actually a separate organization.
Okay. All right, any questions on general services? No?
All set.
Good. Veteran Services. So Marie usually plugs this in. I think you've done it the last couple of years for Bob LeBeau, our veteran officer.
Correct. And I spoke with Bob, and he said, you know, with the exception of doing the salary the same as what is happening throughout the town, that he would leave it flat. The only thing to note is that for meetings and fees, it's actually his travel reimbursement. He doesn't go to meetings, but there's no travel line. Yeah.
That's him driving veterans to
Yes,
doctors.
to appointments.
Okay.
Yep.
Kind of thing. Yeah,
That makes sense.
I'm assuming there won't be any questions on the veterans. Okay, moving on to celebrations.
Celebrations, this is for the Memorial Day and the Veterans Day Parade. And they have they've asked for an increase for each of these items because things are more expensive, and they've been sitting at the same level for years now. It's a $300 increase for Memorial Day and a $100 increase for Veterans Day.
Who oversees that?
Elmer Preston,
Oh, okay.
or the Legion, LaFontaine, but actually
Okay.
now the commander at the Legion is Lisa Martin. So. Any questions on celebrations? All right.
And, okay, so I'm not.
You say it now. I'm bringing up
Oh,
municipal.
insurance, yep. So municipal insurance, our broker let us know that it looked as though it's going to be about an 8% increase. He's hoping it comes in lower, but that's what we're plugging in for now. And the only caveat he made is that right now, cyber liability is sort of an unknown.
And Marie, I can't remember from our meeting, when did he say he thought maybe by mid-April they'd have numbers?
He thought by the end of February, beginning of March, he might have something for us.
Okay.
So you'll be able to update that as you go, possibly as you go through finalizing.
Okay, hopefully.
Mm.
All right, any questions for Marie on any of these items? Any citizen comments at this time? Citizen comments? All right, hearing none, that concludes this portion or this budget workshop for tonight. We do have another agenda item to discuss. Yeah, thank you, Marie.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Michelle, for jumping in too. All right, so moving on to agenda item 3, request of the Board of Finance or from the Board of Finance. There are two items that were brought to our attention at the Bill and myself, at the building committee meeting. The schools or the building committee would like to request $38,900 to complete the security assessment. And then a portion of the school track for the contract docs and bidding assistance work. There was a small shortfall of $6,790. We are returning, finance will be returning $39,332 from the oil tank replacement project and $25,907. So roughly 60 some odd $1,000 from two other projects that will more than adequately cover the $45,690. But Bill is, of course, on the call and can answer any questions that either you or Ken have, Suzanne.
So the oil spill money and the, what was it?
Oil spill remediation project.
Okay, so that goes right back into the general fund, right?
Correct.
Correct.
But what you're saying is
I'll
the
let Bill
request. So we need to request from the Board of Finance, and you're just making us aware that there's money going
Yes.
back into the general
Yes.
fund, right?
Yes.
So I'll make that motion that do you want two different motions or do you want it as one?
Bill, how do you think Aaron's going to want it? Probably two. He
I don't-
has it on the agenda as two requests.
I would go with two.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think that we should probably do it in two requests. So I'll make the motion, that we request from the Board of Finance, $38,900 for the security assessment.
I'll second that motion. Any discussion? It's open for discussion on this topic.
How was the shortfall found that we needed more money?
Well, this is for the security assessment, which had never been completed. When I say shortfall, that was on the track, Ken. That had to do, we appropriated from the ARPA money, I think it was $75,000. And when
Wait.
we had,
wait,
I
we're on
know,
the-
oh, we're on the
yeah,
other
so
subject. So I can't talk about that
security
yet.
assessment is the motion right now, because I did them in two, I'm gonna do them in two different motions.
Yeah. So the security assessment is just to finish the assessment.
So it was started,
It was, we had quotes and we had evaluation done on the project itself, but now it's going to be the sort of like the engineer work,
okay,
I guess you would call it. Correct, Bill?
That's correct.
Where they're going to lay out the plan for the construction. Any other questions or discussion on this first motion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of approving the motion to request $38,900 from the Board of Finance for the security assessment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And that passes.
so I'll make a motion that we request from the Board of Finance, $6,790 to cover the portion of the school track contract documents and bidding assistance work that was not in the budget. Is that what that's supposed to say?
Potentially say that was not covered by the previous appropriations, might be a good way to say it.
Or, okay.
So not covered by
By the
previous
appropriation.
Correct.
motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, now Ken, what was your question?
And Bill can probably answer it better than me.
Yeah. So Ken, I think what you're getting at, so initially there were two appropriations to handle this project. There was 72,200 of ARPA funds. And there was an initial appropriation from the Board of Finance of 15,000 totaling 87,200. We have spent just under $65,000 with tie and bond to do the studies up there and to come up with, you guys have probably seen the plans that they have, I guess you'd call them blueprints maybe for a track, if that's what you call them. And there is, of those appropriations, $22,410 remaining. So this 6,790 covers the gap between what would be necessary to do the contracting and bidding assistance work.
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion on this motion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of approving the motion as presented?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Don't know what I'm doing.
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned at 5:36 PM. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Our next